All right, so I created this composition with a bunch of vector shapes. So I'm gonna show you how I did that in just a second. So let's go ahead and delete all of this. And what that does is leave me with just my image and my guides. And what I did was I went to my this toolbox right here, which has all of my shapes or my vector shapes. And um, so I can just select that and create a shape, a rectangle. And now notice that while I have this selected from my initial creation of this, I can still change the color and my stroke and even my stroke size right here. I actually don't want a stroke, so I'm just gonna get rid of that stroke. But once I click off of this and I click on it, those options are no longer at the top, but they are in my properties. So if I click over here, I can change the color. And let's say I wanted to grab a specific color, I can click on this icon and this will pop up. And if I grabbed a color on her dress, then I have that color, and now my shape is this color that is located on her dress. Or better yet, let's do something a little bit more intimate. So let's grab the color off of her lips and press OK. Now we have this, which I think feels a little bit better than the other color. It's a lot more subtle. Now, in this layer, I could change my opacity, and or I can change my blend mode. I would do something like multiply, and then I would create that shape that you saw earlier, that rose. So how did I do that? Actually, Photoshop has presets. So inside of my vector layer or my vector shape toolbox, you'll see a custom shape tool. And in here, you can find flowers, leaves, wild animals. Um, this time I think I'm going to go with a wild animal. So I have this selected, and I'm just gonna click and drag. Now, when I click and drag for the first time bringing it in, notice that this image is really distorted. That's because I'm not holding down the shift key. You wanna hold down the shift key, and then you'll have something like this. Now, I have all of this stuff going on, and just keep in mind that the image does not look like that. Those blue lines and boxes just are letting me know that this is a vector image that could be edited, and I can move those points and all that type of stuff. But we're not going to do any of that. We're just going to go to our properties, get rid of my stroke, change this color maybe to that color, or maybe just to white to make it pop out, or I'll just leave it this like this. All right, so now I have this. So the one thing I want to show you before we end this video is let's get rid of my fill, and I'm going to add a white stroke. And notice that in my appearance panel, in order to see all of my options, I need to pull this down, and I can see that I can add more weight to my stroke, but it's going on the inside of my image and not the outside, or not even the center. So to change that, I can just click here, and let's see how it looks from the center. That doesn't look good to me, but I'm going to go from the outside, and that looks a little bit better. I like that much better than what we had before. It's not like super awesome, but it's okay. So let's say I have this, and right now my stroke size is 30. Now, if I had decided that I wanted to, um, oops, if I wanted to make this image smaller, I'll press Command T to shrink it, and I start shrinking this down to make it smaller. And then I'm noticing that the smaller I shrink it, my stroke size is pretty much staying the same size, and it's not looking right. So how do I fix that? Well, I'll show you how to fix it. Oops, undo. I'll show you how to fix it. Let's go ahead and get it back to the size that we want it. All right, so now what I want to do, and some of you probably already figured it out, you can just right click on this layer and rasterize that layer. So now this vector image is no longer vector, it is a regular pixel based image. So now when I shrink it down, the stroke size shrinks as well in proportion to however small I shrunk it. So now I can just go in here and add a cool little effect on it, or a blend mode on it. Let's lock this layer because I don't want to move that. And let's lock this layer because I don't want to move that either. And there we go. But the only problem with this is now any changes that I want to make to it, I cannot make those changes anymore unless I just went to undo or went back to my history panel and brought it back. Let's say if I didn't want stroke anymore, I just wanted a fill, I could do that. I could change the color, whatever I wanted to do, I can do that instead. Then if I wanted, well, in this case I wouldn't need to make it into a rasterized layer, but I could still do all the other stuff like soft light and have something like that or whatever. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I will see you in the next video.